You're listening to The Culture Report, Voice of Russia, America's weekly look into the world of arts, culture, and history. I'm your host, Rob Sachs. Today on The Culture Report, we explore new performances on stage and on film. We begin in Miami with a new production of Chekhov's Three Sisters.
We wanted to keep the essence of the play, the essence of the world of the Provincial family, but we wanted people to be able to relate to it.
Next, an interview with Oleg Frisch, who shares his love of the American songbook.
I always loved names and melodies from the past.
Finally, a review of a Russian classic brought to the big screen, Anna Karenina.
It's much kind of artier. Like, it's something that you'll enjoy if you enjoy kind of reveling in a movie that's this beautiful.
That and more is just ahead on The Culture Report. Russian playwright Anton Chekhov's play Three Sisters explores how a privileged family from Moscow contends with a new life in a small provincial town. The play deals with issues of class, gender, and living in a changing society. Now, the Miami Theater Center has staged a new production of Three Sisters, reinterpreting it for a contemporary audience. Here to tell us more about this new production is Stephanie Ansin. She is the artistic director and founder of the Miami Theater Center. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So this was written right around 1900, 1901, and deals with issues back then. How did you come to choose this play and think about making it a contemporary play?
Well, this play is the beginning of our transition from being the playground theater, which focused on shows for young audiences and families, and expanding into Miami Theater Center, which will also provide theater and live performance of other genres for adults. And Three Sisters is, of course, a magnet for great actors. It's a play everybody wants to do. And it's a play that would put us on the map, and a play that I've been wanting to work on for a long time. And we saw, still see a lot of connections between what's going on in the play and what's going on today. There's still issues of women's rights and equality that we're tackling today. And the issue of how do we make ourselves happy? How do we deal with life's challenges without falling into them, sinking into an abyss, but rather deal with them, go through them, make a new plan. Plan A doesn't work, move to Plan B. Shift quickly to try to create your own happiness.
And can you give our audience a brief synopsis of what the play is and maybe some changes you've made to make it more contemporary?
Sure. When the play was first produced, obviously it was a contemporary play. It wasn't a historical piece. And we wanted to try to create some of that connection with the work for today's audiences in 2012 in Miami Shores, which is right outside of Miami. So we wanted to keep the essence of the play, the essence of the world of the Provincial family, which is the main characters in the play. And we didn't want to dumb it down. Like, we didn't want to set it in 2012 in Hialeah, for example. But we wanted people to be able to relate to it. So things we had to do were remove some literary allusions or musical allusions that today's audience just wouldn't get, or historical, cultural allusions that we wouldn't get. Like, my collaborator and I had a joke, well, right then, this is when the stagehand has to cross the stage with a placard that explains what they're talking about. But some places we would substitute songs that the characters sing with songs that the actors are familiar with, songs that the audience might recognize. We also are using the space in a non-traditional way to help audiences connect to the play. The audience is sitting on a 49-seat riser that's on the stage, so they're not sitting in the seats of the theater. They're sitting on the stage, and that riser actually rotates between scenes to give a different perspective of the set. So instead of changing the set, we change the seating, and that gives the audience a different view of the set. And it gives them a very intimate view of the stage because we have no masking, we have no curtains. They're seeing the real walls of the stage. They're seeing the lighting grid. They're seeing the real floor. So there's this real interaction between the set pieces, the furniture, the costumes, the things that are part of the fiction, part of the story, and then the real bones of the space, the real exit sign, for example.
And this play is much shorter than other stagings of Three Sisters. It's only 2 hours with one intermission. Sometimes it's run as long as 4 hours. How did you decide what parts to keep, what parts were going to be most relevant for your staging?
A case-by-case basis. It was word by word. We worked with 5 different translations going line by line. We worked with a literal translation that we commissioned, and we worked with 4 existing translations of the play, plus the Russian, plus Google Translate. And so that's really 6 versions of the play. And we went line by line, my collaborator, Fernando Casady, and I, and we read every line 6 times and tried to get to the essence of the line. And once we did that, then we went through and distilled, and we tried to definitely keep the story, keep the through line, and figure out what, in terms of 2012 storytelling, could be cut.
Now, you also talked a little bit about the music for this production, and I understand you got some original music to go along with this. Can you tell us about what it was like having music being a part of this and how you were able to settle on what would be the best fit?
Well, the composer I've worked with for 6 years, Luciano Stazzone, we did a lot of research together. We reference a lot of Russian music from Russian Orthodox liturgical music to contemporary Russian music to Soviet band music to other contemporary music that isn't necessarily Russian but match the atmosphere we were trying to create. And we mixed it all together. And that sort of mixture, that creating a bridge from Russia in 1900 to Moscow 1900 to Miami Shores 2012, that bridge is a metaphor that we're using in all elements of the play. For example, all the chairs in the Prozorov house are from different places. We bought them all at thrift shops. None of them match, but they all have a story. You look at them and you feel a family history. You feel a story about them. The actors do not look Russian at all. It's a very eclectic cast, a lot of different ethnicities and ages, but they all have some kind of connection to the character. And so we're not at all trying to create a museum piece, but at the same time, the costumes generally fit the time period, so you get the feel of being in the past. And the props, some of the props also look older than others, but we're really working with this metaphor of creating a bridge from Moscow 1900 to Miami Shores 2012, and the music takes us across that bridge as well.
You mentioned earlier how Three Sisters is one of those plays that everyone wants to participate in. It's really something that actors want to be a part of. Can you tell me about the first time you saw Three Sisters and why it resonated so well with you?
It was actually working on it in a class, and I was working on the Irina Tuzenbach scene right before he's about to go to the duel. And it was the first time that I experienced what it felt like for my lines, for my text to come directly out of my circumstances. Like, we were basically improvising that scene. I didn't know the lines, but I connected deeply to my partner and to the circumstances, and the words that came out, I found out subsequently, were exactly what were on the page.
What about the plight of these sisters really resonates, you think, with the audience? Is it, you talked about what it's like to be a woman, but also this idea of class. What kind of themes do you think will really come out and really connect with people who watch it?
I think the idea of needing a purpose, the need to work is the need to find a purpose. People don't want to feel useless. The idea of being faced with circumstances that aren't making you happy, situation that you're unhappy with, and there are obstacles to your happiness, and how do you work with those obstacles, or how do you find another way around? And also how much the sisters care for each other, that family strength that they give each other, protecting each other, loving each other.
I also guess the theme of, longing for something you don't have.
Or longing for something from the past, and it's not really that thing that you want. It's not really necessarily Moscow that they want, but another time or another dream or a fantasy that they want to have but won't necessarily happen. Nostalgia for the past, wanting to change your life.
So in putting on this production, you are doing something also, which I thought was pretty amazing, just having, am I reading this right, just 49 seats for this play?
Yes, because in our community at this moment, it would be impossible to fill our 300 seats every night for more than a weekend, and we've been rehearsing the play for 2 months, so it would be a crime to perform the play for only a weekend. So, as Vershinan says, right now there are only 3 people like you in the city. Right now, we think we can only bring in 49 people a night, but hopefully in years to come, we would be able to do Chekhov and fill 330 seats.
Well, can you tell me what it's like transforming this theater into the Miami Theater Center from the Playground Theater, and thinking about bringing high-class performances to this community, and what the theater scene in Miami is like overall? You don't necessarily think of Miami as a hub of great theater.
Right, you don't. It's more known for the visual art scene, for the ballet, for the symphony. So part of our project is to raise the quality of theater and the visibility of theater in Miami. It's starting around us, but we really want to try and raise the bar and push the rigor. One of my colleagues said that Miami is the only city he's lived in where actors don't train. So part of our initiative through Miami Theater Center is to provide training for professional performers.
And how was it then finding actors to be a part of this? Did you have to go out of Miami? Was it a tough search?
Actually, we're lucky because the shows we've done for the Playground Theater, lately we've had to get a good chunk of our cast from New York. And Three Sisters is the biggest cast we've worked with at 16 people. And previously the biggest cast was, I think, 12, including understudies. And we only had to bring 2 from New York, and they happened to be people we'd already worked with. So we didn't even have to hold auditions in New York, which I was happy about.
So the premiere for Three Sisters is coming up this Friday.
This Saturday night.
Oh, this Saturday. Sorry about that. What are you doing in advance of it? I know today is a really busy day. What are some of the things that happen in the theater right before a premiere, before curtains go up?
So this morning and then tomorrow morning we had previews for high school juniors and seniors. So that was a great experience. We just had our first preview this morning. After I get off the phone with you, I'm going to go downstairs and give notes to the actors. We have to tweak the ending a little bit to make sure the ending is clear. Since there are only 49 seats, there's a little bit of hubbub about people calling and the tickets are sold out, and then someone will cancel. So we have 1 ticket, 2 tickets we have to try to give away. There's a lot of ticket movements. And we're finalizing the study guide that we provide to high school seniors and juniors who come see the show on weekday mornings. We're finalizing the program. We just heard about some mistakes in the program, so we're deciding if we need to reprint or we can just do an insert, things like that, tweaking lighting cues.
So almost every aspect you can imagine, from advertising to the actual performance itself, you have many hats on today.
Yes, exactly.
And thinking about we talked a little bit about introducing theater to Miami, Greater South Florida. Thinking about getting high schoolers involved, how is it that you're getting the next generation of theater goers enthused about seeing plays, seeing live performances?
Well, a big part of our work is bringing, for the playground shows, younger kids, sometimes even as young as nursery school, but usually elementary school through high school. And then for this play, The Three Sisters, we're bringing juniors and seniors. So every weekday morning, we bus in for the playground shows, 330 kids. For this show, which is 49 seats, it's only 49 high school students. And a lot of the kids that we bring in, especially for the playground shows, the younger audiences, they've never seen a live theater performance. So it's a very important event in their lives.
What do you like to hear from them? What's the best thing that you hear from people who have never experienced theater, people who are new to it? What's the biggest compliment when they walk away that you think, I did my job, I know that we're on the right track here?
The biggest compliment is when a child comes with their class and then returns with their parents. Like, they like the show so much that they want to go again, and they want their mother or father to see it too.
Well, that's great. Well, we're hoping many, many people return to the Miami Theater Center, and good luck with the debut.
Thank you.
Of Three Sisters. That is Stephanie Ansin. She is the artistic director and founder of the Miami Theater Center. Stephanie, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on The Culture Report, we meet Russian-American singer Oleg Frisch, who shares his love of American swing.
I know a lot about American music, even sometimes more than those who were born here.
That's just ahead on The Culture Report. I'm Rob Sachs.